Out of your fucking mind? People are murdered every day. There's genocide, war, corruption, every fucking day. Somewhere in the world, somebody sacrifices his life to save somebody else. Every fucking day, someone somewhere takes a conscious decision to destroy someone else. People find love, people lose it. For Christ's sake, a child watches a mother beaten to death on the steps of a church. Someone goes hungry. Somebody else betrays his best friend for a woman. If you can't find that stuff in life, then you, my friend, don't know crap about life. And why the fuck are you wasting my 2 precious hours with your movie? I don't have any use for it. I don't have any bloody use for it. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so his question is, he's trying to write a movie without conflict. Can you have a story without conflict? Is it possible? Maybe, I'm not really sure how, but almost every story, at least the good ones, the ones that we know well, there is some kind of conflict, even if it's just internal, right? Who has seen the movie Moon? Okay, a couple of people. So in that movie, we have an actor who is, he's playing an astronaut who is stranded on the moon. He's completely alone, all by himself, the entire movie. And yet, it's an incredible film. The conflict in that movie is internal. It's all internal. There is almost no external conflict at all, other than the fact that he's trapped on the moon, right? Next slide, please. So yeah, conflict. Number one, most important thing. Okay, writing your first draft. Most important thing, any kind of writing, screenplay, academic, novel writing, your first draft, just write it. Just get the words out of your head onto the page, right? It's easy to sit there and agonize and imagine how this movie is going to be, how this screenplay will be, what will happen, what the experience will be like. I will be a writer, I will be writing. But it's really important to just do a thought dump, or one of my teachers called it word vomit, onto the page. Just get everything out, right? You will have the rest of your life to correct it. You have the rest of your life to edit it. But the most important thing is have something to work with, because most writing, and I think most movie production really, happens in editing. Right? You have everything that you created, but you don't have anything until it's all put together. So you need the materials, you need the raw clay to work with. We don't want to get stuck when writing our first draft. Don't get stuck on details like formatting, right? When you write a screenplay has a specific format. Interior, exterior, voiceover, dialogue, whatever. When you're writing your first draft, if you get hung up on those things, you're just going to get stuck in that forever. So even if you don't use screenplay structure, you can write the action and you can write the dialogue, maybe just like a story, like a novel, and then you can edit it and format it later. Maybe you prefer to write in screenplay format. Maybe you know that very well and that works for you. But whatever keeps the flow of the words vomiting out of your head, right? And you want to make sure you tell the whole story. So this goes back to the advice about begin with the ending. So if you know the ending, then it's easier to know how it begins and everything that happens in the middle. But you don't want to miss anything. If you write the ending, but you forget the beginning, and you only have the middle, or you have the beginning and the ending, but no middle, is not a story. So make sure that you cover that the whole story is told, whatever that story is. Next slide. Okay, so here's Charlie trying to begin his first draft. So let's see this.
To begin, how to start. I'm hungry. I should get coffee. Coffee would help.
help me think. But I should write something first, then reward myself with coffee. Coffee and a muffin. Okay, so I need to establish the themes. Maybe banana nut. That's a good muffin.
Right, so beginning the first draft is hard, right? How many people in here, when you're trying to write something, have you sat there like Charlie staring at a blank page? It's a common experience, right? Maybe just a paragraph and that's it, that's all you got. So, writer's block is real, it happens. You can be stuck and not know what to do. But what do you think Charlie should do in this situation? What is good advice? Go eat. Go eat. Go have the coffee. No? Maria says no.
I think he would set an alarm clock for 20 minutes and write whatever he wants and then have a moment.
Yes, this is very good advice. That you should set an alarm for an amount of time, maybe 20 minutes, maybe an hour, and just write as much as you can, and know that at the end, okay, I will get to have the muffin. Okay. Often, you reach the end of that hour, or 20 minutes, you will still be writing. It will be happening. So, and you will have forgotten the coffee or the muffin. Or maybe you can't, and the alarm sounds, and you get to have the coffee and the muffin. Okay. So it's win-win, either way. Next slide. Okay, advice for once we have a first draft. Once we have a first draft. We want to review the draft and see where are the holes, where are the gaps, where is there something missing from the story? Does this jump from part A to part C without telling us what happens in part B? So make sure the whole story is connected. Make sure the dots are connected. So if you, this is called, one writing teacher called this the hidden gun. The hidden gun. If you plant a gun near the beginning of the story, say the gun is in someone's desk, right? And then there is a key scene near the end of the story where someone pulls out the gun and shoots someone, right? If the gun isn't there, or if the scene with the gun never happens, then either you have planted the gun without fulfilling that gun, without the payback, or you've given the payback without the initial scene where the gun is planted, right? So if something happens, it needs to be earned. Writers say you need to earn this, right? So for instance, if someone just randomly pulls a gun out of somewhere and shoots someone, how did it get there? Why was the gun there? So connect the dots, make sure that if something happens, then there is a precipitating reason for that thing to happen. Feedback, next absolutely critical, so important thing about writing is feedback. It is so easy to look at your own work and say, say this is excellent, I know this is perfect, or I know what needs to be changed, right? And you think that you have something excellent, and you show it to someone else and they say, what is this? This is crap, I don't understand this. Like, what did you write? So very important to listen, to show your work to other people. Let them read it and listen to what they say. Because you are in the world of the writer. You are in your own mind. You have a certain set of thoughts and feelings about your characters and your story. You know the whole story, beginning to end. But often, if someone else reads your work, they can see where those gaps are, where the dots are not connected. Or they can tell you, this character is totally boring. Or, how does this story end? I don't understand, right? Maybe you don't see that. It's so important to have at least one other person read your writing, at least. If not a writing group or a class or something. Those are great for feedback. And read it out loud, right? Because this is a screenplay. This is action. This is dialogue on screen. If you read the dialogue out loud and it's boring as hell, that's not going to work. That's not a good movie. Or if your dialogue, your conversation, sounds like doesn't sound real, nobody buys it, right? They don't believe it. Then you know you need to go back and revise your dialogue. But that's, writing and revising dialogue is not my area of expertise. Hopefully Frank can tell us a little bit more about that. Next slide. How are we on time? Can I keep flapping my lips? 3 minutes? Okay. Let's watch another clip. Which is this one? Oh shoot, I don't remember what we're on. I believe this is Charlie trying to begin his first draft.
We open on State Road 29. A battered white van speeds along, making a sharp, skidding right into the Fakahachi Strand State Preserve. The driver of the van is a skinny man with no front teeth. This is John LaRoche. I need a break.
Okay, again, so same as before. Maybe we can get a little bit out. And if you're thinking you need a break, you probably need a break. Right? Maybe your mind needs to refocus on something else. Don't just sit there and stare at that text on the page. Okay, I don't think we have time for any more clips, but let's speed through the next few slides. So next slide, okay. Character development, just a few points. Hopefully Frank and Maria can expand on this, but we want to make your character likable early on. This needs to be someone in the beginning of the movie that we can relate to and understand. Even if they're an evil son of a bitch, we still need to have something to identify with this person with. Characterization, I consider more like the sum total of a person. So everything this character is, not their spirit, this is their character, their kind of person they are, but characterization is more like the little details about that person that makes them who they are. The example that this writer, Noam Kroll, gives on his website is maybe you have an antagonist who is she's a high-powered CEO, so she drives a big SUV, and she drinks black coffee, and maybe she has a nervous tic, right? Things like that, little details about the person add up to complete the whole characterization. When you're writing, you want to make sure that your characters are driving the story. So what would the character do in this situation? Not what you would do, or what someone else, or what someone in another movie would do, but what would the character do? So it's important to know your character. When you're writing, a very good exercise is to write character backgrounds on each of your characters, right? To tell their history. So, okay, this is Bob, he was born in Albuquerque, he grew up, he had this terrible experience when he was younger. So know who they are, know why they do what they do. Give them compelling dialogue, because again, this is a movie, this is not real life. We want our characters in movies to be fictional, but realistic, right? So it's gotta be believable dialogue, sounds good, right? But also something unique. Like the extreme would be Tarantino. Right? Tarantino is the absolute extreme, I think, of dialogue writing. His dialogue is like nothing else, but the characterization is also very strong. Right? So it's not just boring, flat characters with snappy lines. Right? You need both. You need deep characters who also say interesting things that maybe we have not heard before. And give them a point of view. This is for the actor. This is for the actor. So, point of view, a good example of that is Forrest Gump. Who has seen Forrest Gump? Most of you, right? Forrest has a very clear point of view, right? Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. So, it's important when writing to understand, okay, this is his point of view, so that can drive the kinds of decisions he makes, or the kind of conversations that he has. Next slide. Okay, let's skip this. We don't have time for this, unfortunately. Next slide.